Javier, you've disrupted the care of diabetes in Mexico. Talk to us about Clay's work and the principles of disruption theory and how you use that to start these clinics to treat so many people in Mexico who are underserved.
Great. So just a little bit of background, because I studied physics engineering. Then I came to MIT. And when I was 17, I went to live in native communities in Mexico. I was there for a year and a half. And my dream was to be this Mexican scientist that was going to change the world. So when I came to MIT, I started taking many of my classes at the Harvard School of Public Health in technologies for healthcare. I've been working a lot around that. So luckily, I did a project for Tanzania in how to diagnose diabetic food, and then with the Harvard Banker Group in how technologies help people with diabetes. And that was the first time that I talked to my mom about her diabetes, just to realize that she was very lonely, she was struggling, she also had cancer before, so she was going between the endocrinologist and the oncologist and having so many comments. She in the middle until she said, I don't want to get care anymore, even if I die from diabetes. So I was shocked, and because of that. And then I was fortunate that, as Clayton mentioned, we could not cross-register at his class. So he was a rebel and came to MIT and said, well, I'm going to teach the class at MIT. So I was in that class. So the first thing I said, why is so complex, diabetes? And I love retail models, I love standardizations, I love technology, so why is so complex? And ironically, I said, why we don't have the McDonald's for diabetes care, a place where you can just walk in, very simple, accessible. And then if you look at countries like Mexico, 80% of the population do not have access to specialized care, and their probability to have a complication goes up to 50%. So money is a predictor of a well-being. So going back to the theory, so the first thing we said was, what's the job to be done? Nobody wants to go to a doctor first. Nobody wants to go to the nutritionist. Nobody wants to go to the ophthalmologist. So actually, what is the job to be done? And instead of looking at the patient going to the doctor, the nutritionist, what we said is, what needs to happen during a year? And then we built a little bit like an assembly line. So, so it's a process-based. And the second thing we said, and it has to be a one-stop shop. People have to have everything under one roof. And then when you talk to low-income people, they usually have just limited disposable income. So when we go to private care in countries like Mexico, you never know if it's going to be $100 or $200. Always private care, it depends on what's going to be done that day. So for low-income people, it's very difficult to manage those uncertainties. So we said we have to create a fixed fee. And of course, there is a lot of financial simulations and operation simulations behind that, just like a value base, and to create a fixed fee so people can pay on monthly installments. So that was the concept of what exactly people want, and make it very simple, very convenient. And of course, the non-consumption, 80% of the people, or 85% do not have access to private care. We were able to only 10-15% that usually have access, to go up to 90% of the population today can afford to pay our membership. We charge $250 a year for the whole diabetes care. It's unlimited, like a club. They can come as many times as they want, no appointment necessary. And that's compared to probably 1,500 in typical private clinics.